Welcome to the Connor's Corner segment of Ask the Lawyer. You know, if you ask most people what's the greatest or the best holiday film ever made, a lot of people would say It's a Wonderful Life. And we're very pleased to have Zuzu Bailey, also known as Karolyn Grimes. How you doing today?
I'm doing really good.
Okay, so you made this film. I mean, it was released about 70 years ago. Did you ever any idea when you were filming it that it was going to be the classic that it became?
Well, I don't think anybody knew what it would become. You know, it was a box office failure when it was released. It didn't hit anybody's buttons, but it sat on a shelf for over 20 years, and then they didn't renew the copyright, and it was free, became public domain, so all the television stations could show it, and that's when it all started, was in the early 70s. They showed it over and over, and people saw the film, and, you know, it just was a real surprise because no one expected it to ever last, especially like it has. It's kind of a forever movie.
Now, it was a great cast, and of course, it was led by Jimmy Stewart. What was it like working with Jimmy Stewart? He was just back from the war at that time, I suppose.
Yes, he was. This was the first film he did after he returned from the war, and he was 6'4", and I'm this little kid, and I'm hanging on his back or in his arms. He just seemed like he was taller than God, and he was very kind, very gentle, and he seemed to understand that I, you know, could use a little help once in a while, and he just was a great guy. He also had a lot of friends on the set. Everybody sort of loved him, and even Lyle Barrymore had fun with him, and he and Capra played kind of jokes on each other all the time, and it was fun. It was a very low-stress set because Frank Capra kept it that way. He didn't put stress on people like some of the other directors I worked with did.
Well, I know last time we talked a little bit about working with John Ford, so not quite the same style?
Woo! Not quite the same style. No. No, he was a kind man. He didn't have a big temper. He was just a good guy.
That's Frank Capra.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
The other one, not so much.
Well, you had an opportunity to really work with some of the greatest actors and actresses of that time. I mean, Cary Grant, John Wayne, Maureen O'Hara, of course, Donna Reed, Loretta Young, David Niven, Glenn Ford, Fred MacMurray. In a relatively short period of time, you really worked with all the Hollywood greats.
I really did. I got that opportunity to work with them. I mean, Gary Cooper, Danny Kaye, so many of the greats. And so I really was a very fortunate little girl.
We're coming up on the 70th anniversary of It's a Wonderful Life. I understand they're doing an event in Seneca Falls.
They certainly are. It's the annual It's a Wonderful Life Festival, but we're celebrating the 70th anniversary, and, it's going to be so wonderful. We're recreating the opening dinner at the Ambassador Hotel on the night the film opened and was filmed at the Pantages in Los Angeles. So it's just really going to be really fun. We're going to have that on Friday night, and then on Saturday night we are going to have a final scene dinner where we have a lot of talk about the film and the making, and the three Bailey kids are going to be there. They're going to be reunited, and so we're going to have a really good time there, and we're going to meet all the people. It'll be super fun. And also a lot of people that were involved with the film in other ways. The lady who played my sister Janie in the movie, who played her as a baby, has her actual contract, and she's going to be there. And just so many neat little things that are happening, and it's all coming together. They have a 5K run in the snow. Last year we had 4,130 people show up, and they start on the bridge. It's just the coolest thing. It's so fun. They have all kinds of exciting events going on, and their Today show is going to be filming there this year. So it's going to be a real great time, and it's a special anniversary.
So I understand that's December 9th, 10th, and 11th?
Yes,
Okay, now why Seneca Falls? I mean, I thought the town was Bedford Falls. So how does Bedford Falls become Seneca Falls?
Well, You want the good story?
Yeah.
The one that okay. I was friends with a cameraman on the Oprah show, and it was his suggestion to me. He called me up. He and his wife were looking at the leaves up there when in the fall when it was beautiful, and he called me and he said, "This is the place. This is the place." And so he talked to somebody, and they got me to come in, and that was 15 years ago. And I walked into the town. It had just started snowing. The bridge was lit up. It was absolutely gorgeous, and I had that moment. I really did. I knew that Frank Capra, had gotten perhaps his ideas for the design of Bedford Falls from this little town. And so I talked to a barber who claimed that he had cut Frank Capra's hair. And the reason he remembered, at the time Capra would have been there, the Italians lived on one side and the Wasps or what lived on the other side of the canal that separated the main street. And it was just incredible because he said, I cut this man's hair, and he said, my name's Tony Bellissimo, and Bellissimo in Italian means beautiful. Capra in Italian, on the other hand, means goat. And so he always remembered cutting the goat's hair. And he didn't know who he was, but then he saw in the newspaper a few weeks later that's whose hair he cut. And so he knew that he had been there. And if you will remember in the movie, they mention the city, Buffalo, Rochester, and Elmira. And Seneca Falls is right in the middle of that. And they also talk about it's definitely filmed in Upper New York. So we are really thrilled that this little town could possibly be the one. It has the Victorian towns, it has the names of the streets, the bridge, it has everything. The railroad station. There's so many things. It's got a building called Partridge, which is the school superintendent's name. It just kind of goes on forever, but he never left any notes, Capra, at all, that this was the town. But I think he did that on purpose because he wanted all of us to sort of maybe consider our own town, look at our own communities, and become one and realize that we make a difference. He didn't want any particular community to stand out, so he never left any notes that he had perhaps designed Bedford Falls after Seneca Falls, but I really do think he did. And we also have his granddaughter coming to the festival, Monica Capra Hedges, and she's going to be there, and just a lot of cool people are going to be there who are involved in some way with the film.
Okay, now what else are you doing? You have a book out, I understand?
I do. I have a new book. It's called Zuzu's Petals. It's a children's story for all ages, really, but it's this dream. Zuzu wins a prize, and she comes home from school, and she's so excited because she's won this beautiful flower, and of course she gets sick, and then her daddy gets in trouble, and her sister comes upstairs and says, we have to pray for Daddy, because he's in trouble. He left. And so I start praying, and then I have a dream. And in my dream, I sort of learn about having faith, because I meet Clarence and a lot of other people in the town, and in the end, I learn about having faith. So it's a really cute little book, and you can get it on Amazon. You can get it on my website, zuzu.net, and it's a cute story. I think it would be a beautiful Christmas gift.
Give your website again.
www.zuzu.net.
Let's get back to the movie, the film, It's a Wonderful Life. Now, there were so many great character actors in that. Do you have any impressions of any one personality from that crew, cast and crew?
Well, Mr. Lyle Barrymore was kind of a scary guy, even in real life. He was kind of grouchy. And I do remember him quite well because he really was in a wheelchair. They built a part around him in a wheelchair, and I think he had arthritis really bad or something like that. And so he was in a lot of pain. And and he had a little flask, and they all had a little flask. Henry Travers, Clarence, he had a flask. Uncle Billy, Thomas Mitchell, he had a flask. Mr. Gower had a flask. They all kind of nipped around. Of course, that was the day, when that was possible. So it was kind of a fun set because everybody had a good time, and it was pretty relaxed.
Now, when you see the film now today, what kind of memories does that bring back to you?
It brings back memories of being home. My mother died when I was 14, and she always accompanied me on my movies when I did a movie, and it just makes me remember those days when she was there. And I remember Jimmy Hawkins' mom. We used to sit around and talk, and I really remember all of these things. I remember the tree. I remember all the snow, which was really exciting for me because, I was born and raised in Hollywood, and it doesn't snow there. So for me to see snow was pretty grand. That was, a wonderful memory for me.
70th anniversary of It's a Wonderful Life, Seneca Falls, December 9th, 10th, and 11th. The 70th anniversary celebration, and you're going to have a couple of the Bailey kids there?
Yes, we'll be 3 of us. There's only 3 of us left.
I was going to say, none of the adults are still alive who did that film, are there?
Well, actually there is. Harry Bailey's wife. She, the one that gets off the train.
Right.
She lives in Ann Arbor, Michigan. She will not be there, but she is still alive.
All right. Well, we look forward to that weekend. And again, the name of the book.
Zuzu's Petals.
Good Christmas gift.
Yes.
Thank you for being...
Dream of It's a Wonderful Life.
All right. Thank you for being on our show. Good luck to you in the future. Merry Christmas.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Merry Christmas to you.